Recording in progress.
Good evening and welcome to the August 6th legislative meeting. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for coming. I just want to start off tonight by discussing the water issues that we had in South Fallsburg. So it was reported to us by the Sullivan Correctional Facility that on Friday, July 26th, the prison had done their annual water test using a fire pump that released a lot of iron, manganese, and debris from the walls of the pipes that clogged most of their flush meters on their toilets. So this resulted in about 150 toilets running non-stop over the weekend. Nobody was there to notice it until Monday. Monday morning, our water department staff came in and noticed that our La Vista tanks were at a incredibly low level for a typical Monday morning. So at that point, we issued a conserved water notice, knowing that it's not going to last us the week. This was on Tuesday, and the water department, town engineer, and code enforcement worked hard to find leaks and anyone using an excessive amount of water. By Thursday, we saw that our levels were too low to make it into the weekend, and the board made the decision to bring in tankers, while the prison also disconnected from our system and brought in tankers as well. By Friday morning, the La Vista tanks were at only 2.5 feet, which was estimated to last until about noon. But the tankers that came in on Friday put in approximately 100,000 gallons of water into the system, and La Vista didn't run dry until about 7 p.m., which was still a bit short from what we were looking to do. So the tankers did work through the weekend into today to make sure that we have a sufficient amount of water, and as of this afternoon we have almost 12 feet of water in the La Vista tanks. Now the tankers picked up water from our good wells from different parts of the town and then transported it to the La Vista tank network. Obviously the most efficient way to transport water from wells to the tanks is through our water mains. But our 80-year-old crumbling water mains could not handle the pressure without rupturing. That is why this board is in the process of working to commit to find funds to start on a preventive maintenance program to ensure that we have the infrastructure needed to supply all the residents that reside within the water district. This saves us money in the long term because we are required legally to provide water to every user in the water district. And if we cannot, we have to use contingency measures like tankers. But obviously the most efficient way is to have a system that can deliver the water and meet the demand that's requested of us. I would like to thank Bobby McKeon and his staff, as well as Ken Ellsworth, including the Fallsburg Police Department, for providing security and traffic support to facilitate the tankers for the prison. Also, National Night Out was supposed to be tonight, but we're expecting heavy rains, which won't be conducive for fireworks. So we have found an alternative date, which would be Sunday, September 1st, which would be Labor Day weekend. It's going to run from, I believe, 5 to 10 p.m. as well. All right, so do we have any correspondence?
I do not.
Okay. All right, so let's open it up to public comment. Who do we have first?
I have James Ligari.
Thank you, Mike, for that report. That's exactly what I want to speak about tonight. You know, when you campaigned, you knew how serious the town's water and sewer problems were. That was part of your campaign. After being town supervisor for 7 months, you can see from the inside just how complex the water and sewer problems really are in the town of Fallsburg. I'm sure that you will agree there is no quick fix. The problems we are experiencing, water shortages, broken mains, and inadequate sewage capacity in the peak summer season did not just happen, nor start on your watch. What we are experiencing today is the result of the inaction of previous town boards. They did not want to face the issues, prepare for the future, or put together and implement or follow a comprehensive plan to upgrade these water and sewer systems. Previous town boards allowed our outdated, broken water system and sewer plant to reach capacity and then continue unrestricted development. Mr. Supervisor, town members, this cannot be kicked down the road any longer. To fix our systems is going to take a lot of money. I think you all know that. And that's not likely to come just from state grants or federal grants. Taxes are going to have to be involved. You can see from the feedback the town is receiving on social media platforms that the full-time residents are blaming the town board for approving all the new housing developments. They correctly believe this is the reason for not having a system that can deliver enough water. Not having enough water to serve the full-time residents has caused the local fire department to come up with a plan to use tankers to carry water, haul water to put out a fire. Let's pray the town does not experience a major fire like some in the recent past that have put people's lives at risk. Pointing fingers and talking about this water problem on Facebook won't solve the issues. Does the current town budget have the money the town is spending this summer to provide the water to residents you just talked about? The next town budget is going to have enough money allocated to the water department just to maintain the current system until money is found to upgrade it. Some board members are calling for hiking the water and sewer rates by 10%. This will only fund a short-term band-aid approach to the town that the town is currently employing. Politically, this is a very difficult issue. However, we have reached a point where the town must stop all future building until the water and sewer systems are rebuilt. In addition, no one has done any surveys or studies or research to determine if our town's water aquifer can be counted on for the future needs that this town is going to have just to maintain. Major developments cannot continue to be built when the town does not even have the necessary funding to remedy today's problems. Town is mortgaging its future, hoping that these developments will generate enough revenue to cover the additional cost the very developments have brought to the town. Water and sewer being two primary examples. It's time to face the facts. What the town is doing or not doing is inadequate for the present and devastating for our future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Art Resnick.
I have a few questions I'd like to ask the board. First, a few weeks ago, the board approved payment to a firm in the amount of $10,000 per month to write grants for the town. I'd like to know, as a taxpayer who's paying the $10,000 per month, what has been our return on the money invested towards any grants? Is this firm also receiving a percentage of the grant besides the monthly payments? And finally, if they apply for a grant and are not approved, do they still receive a percentage of the applied grant? Wouldn't it be more feasible to hire an in-house grant writer for a lot less than $120,000 per year? You might even be able to pay for a portion of their salary with the grant. Many years ago, the town and Yeshiva joined together to receive a grant for the sidewalks and traffic light on Laurel Park Road. Now, with all the new development on Laurel Avenue from the Pines on down, pedestrian traffic has increased terribly. Why, when a developer goes in front of the planning board, why can't sidewalks be one of the conditions of your project approval? Obviously, the pedestrian traffic is being created from these new housing developments. Since these developments abut each other, each developer can build a sidewalk to a certain specification so that the neighboring developers' sidewalks will be of equal size, depth, and width. This way, eventually, the sidewalks will be the length of Laurel Avenue, and the pedestrians from these new developments will have a place to walk, especially at night. And you touched on the water issue, but as you know, the tankers that hold the 6,000 gallons of water are being used in the attempt to assist in our water issue. And I'm sure that what is costing the taxpayers for this Band-Aid cure, that money will be more effectively used in curing the problem. Speaking of money, where is it? All these developers are investing money in their projects, and with all these projects being built, there should be quite an escrow account somewhere. Every summer it's the same old song, water issues and water issues. Instead of having an engineer on retainer, you need to have an in-house engineer who's available and readily accessible to Bobby and Randy. This town has not had an engineer since Will Illing left, and the town continues to expand with all of these developments. As I said at the last meeting, I think that the town board and the planning board needs to open up their eyes and realize that the present infrastructure cannot and will not handle the increased developing in the town, and finally impose a moratorium on any future projects, and not worry about being called anti-Semitic and be realistic and just learn to say no. And lastly, a few meetings ago, you acknowledged Vicki for coming in on her own time to assist in fixing the phone system. However, an employee who had worked for the town for 32 years and retired on June 6th was never recognized. Chief Williams, a local resident who worked his way up through the ranks to become the chief, I made him the first DARE officer for the police department and the first SRO. Regardless of how you might have felt about him towards the end of his career, I'm sure 30 seconds out of the busy agenda that is before the board wouldn't have been missed. Thank you.
I'll give you a call tomorrow, I can answer a lot of these questions for you.
Linda Siegel.
My parents have been living up here for 40 years, and a lot of developments have occurred since then, but this past summer, it's been horrible.
Excuse me.
South Fallsburg is in a crisis, and many of our local residents or beside themselves may have had experienced low pressure or hardly any water into the estates. It's a sad state that our town has had to issue a water advisory more than once since the summer session has started. This is not enough water to sustain the present population, yet developments continue to be approved. Considering we are having these issues, why are new developments approved one after another, without any consideration of our water supply, our sewer system, and what's going to happen to the environment? The environment, the trees are knocked down, people come up here from the country, and it's go down, what's that, Hyden Road? It's horrible, so that's what I can say. Thank you.
Alice Camara.
I'm a resident of Timber Hill Lane, and I've heard about these water issues for years. I've lived here since 2006. And this is the first year that I've experienced it firsthand. I had 3 incidents of, first one was a couple weeks ago when that private tower leaked. I had no water for several hours in the evening, and finally came back later. This past weekend, I have 2, Friday and Sunday, where the pressure was very low, and it eventually came up, which was nice. But it's kind of scary to turn on the tap and have nothing come out. So I'll just read. It seems like the pipes, as you've mentioned, and everybody's mentioned, are ancient and they need to be replaced. And I'm wondering, you talked about the water and sewer plant being upgraded. Are we gonna upgrade all the pipes? I don't know how many miles of pipes there are, it must be 1 million miles of them. If they can be replaced, so the poor water department isn't running around trying to find leaks every other day. So that should be part of the infrastructure plan, I would think. And again, I say, what everybody else said, why are we approving any construction when these problems are glaring? They're affecting people. Thank you.
I don't have anybody else on my list.
Would anyone else like to speak? Right, step forward and state your name, please.
Hi, my name is
Hold on
Bob.
1 second, I just need you to write your name on the list.
My name is Bob Pratt. I'm a resident of Loch Sheldrake. And you were just saying that the prison did their water test, which was taking thousands of gallons out of the system. Why do you do that in the middle of the summer? You know, don't you have any control over when they do it? Have them do it in September, have them do it in October. Do it in the peak of the season where our summer residents are. It's just, I'm sorry, it's stupid. Okay, stupid. You know, and stupid is the same thing as the planning board approving all of these, housing developments on a conditional negative declaration for their C-Corps. I've reviewed a number of the C-Corps, and they're not accurate. They've been put together with a spit and a whistle, and wrote up my arguments, sent it to the town. Town went, oh well, and then ended up approving it anyway. They came back and go, oh yeah, that's not really true. It is true. I'm an engineer. I know what I'm talking about. These people that are reviewing it aren't. You know, your town planning board is way too old to be able to make these kind of decisions. They're making decisions based on 1950s logic. You know, I think it's really time that you look at putting some competent professional people on these boards and not just letting people say, oh yeah, we'll give you a conditional okay, and when you take a chance, you build now, and maybe we'll have water, maybe we won't. Once they build, they're going to sue the pants off you. You know that. Once they build and don't have any water, they're going to be angry with the town. The town seems to be afraid to say no based on lawsuits. And maybe it's time to knuckle up and say, until we have the infrastructure in place, we can't continue to approve these things. There are 7,000 units in the Loch Sheldrake area, most of which have just been approved. What are you thinking? Am I the only one that thinks of this way? And if so, maybe you should all be replaced. This is a serious issue. This isn't a lollipop kind of thing. This is an issue that needs to be addressed by the town and needs to be taken seriously. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? Anyone online?
No.
Right, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public portion. Let's move on to our agenda items. So, number one, this is actually a promotion. This is a motion to approve the permanent employment of Diane Della Quadra in the Code Enforcement Office as a senior account clerk typist effective 7/11/24. This is actually, she's coming off of her probationary period and actually being appointed permanent position.
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number two, motion to approve the provisional employment of Ryan Killian as Parks and Recreation Director with a salary of $65,000 effective 8/5/2024.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number three, motion to accept the retirement of Sergeant Michael Suma with a final work date of 7/19/24.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye, motion passes. Number 4, motion to approve the promotional employment of Maximilian Deutsch as utility water plant attendant in the water department with a yearly salary of $49,899.20, effective 7/1/2024.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye, motion passes. Number 5, I want to explain this one. So for many, many years, our court officers that work the court right over here, actually tonight and tomorrow night, have been paid a set salary of $20 an hour. And, you know, they have no union representation, no one really advocating on their behalf. The board has taken on this issue and believe that we can raise it to $25 an hour, which is a small amount, but, you know, definitely shows good faith considering that the work that they do protecting the court. So number 5, motion to approve a rate increase of $25 per hour for the following court officers: Stephen Burke, Anthony Franco, Christopher Simmons, and William Young, effective 7/9/24.
Motion.
I
Second.
have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 6, motion to approve payroll warrant number 071724 in the amount of $411,000, $521.35.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 7, motion to approve warrant number 07B24 dated 7/24/24 in the amount of $2,620,532.98.
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 8, motion to approve town board minutes dated 7/23/2024.
Motion.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. So number 9, just to explain this, so we have an EPG grant with regard to the Never Sink Crossing project, where we have, I believe, 8 different funding sources to help pay for that project. This is to put a bridge over the Never Sink to connect the rail trail. Now, in the past, Molly Messenger was the point person for this grant, and now that she's no longer with us, they need a new signatory on her behalf for this grant. So this resolution basically authorizes the town supervisor or the deputy supervisor to act as a town representative for this grant and be able to sign on behalf of the town for this grant. So number 9, resolution authorizing town supervisor or deputy supervisor as town representative for the EPG grant with all the authority previously granted to the town representative in resolution 7 of 2022.
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, all in favor? Aye, motion passes. So number 10 also requires a little bit of explaining. So, as most people know, we are upgrading our sewer plant, and part of that upgrade requires us to bury some electrical lines on the adjoining property, as well as the fact that the driveway that comes down into the plant is partially on the neighbor's property. So we had already worked out an agreement with the neighbor to basically obtain just a small sliver of that land for like $20,000, and they've decided that they no longer want to move forward with that plan and would like us to purchase their entire property, including the house. We're not really in a position to purchase an entire house, so we are looking to basically force the sale of just that little sliver that we need for the sewer plant upgrade. So essentially we'll be retaining Whiteman, Osterman, and Hanna, which is the firm that is represented by, our planning and zoning board attorney is part of, for them to be able to do the work to obtain this property using quiet title and adverse possession litigation. So, number 10, resolution authorizing retaining Whiteman, Osterman, and Hanna to provide legal services to the town of Fallsburg in connection with the quiet title / adverse possession litigation.
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Number 11, So this is a resolution to approve the corrected record of activities for town clerk Paula Grogan. Paula, would you want to just give us a quick summary about?
Okay, so we were waiting on, we had to turn in the record of activities and the resolution, and then I have to wait 30 days after I post it to get the answer back from the state. I had put 20 for me because even though my calculation was higher than 20, the way I understood it was that town clerks can't have more than 20. Then when Vicky from personnel and myself, we both get separate, she gets her packet to file in the personnel office, and then it's also filed in the clerk's office. We got it back. She said, you didn't get the full 20 ROAR hours. So she called up the state, and when I was figuring out my hours, it was much more than 20. But I had, like I said, heard that because I was clerk, you can only have 20, so I put 20, which made my calculation wrong. But going by the calculator that they have online, which is how we figured out all of our hours, I did it the way I was supposed to. Then she got it, and she said, you're not getting the hours that you're supposed to. So Vicky at that point took it over. She called the state and she said, this is what happened. She's not getting the hours that she's supposed to get. And she looked into it, and they agreed that my hours were supposed to be more, so that's why the activity record has been changed to the amount of hours that I was supposed to get. So in essence, I cheated myself. So that's been rectified.
Okay, thank you, Paul. All right, so number 11, resolution to approve the corrected record of activities for town clerk Paula Grogan. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right, I will now entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters as well as general business.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, motion passes. We don't anticipate any further business after executive session. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight to watch and voice their concerns. We're adjourned.
That's part 10. For you, yeah.